Victoria has a public holiday for the Melbourne Cup. My God, how many days do you want off? Anyway, after that little rant, let's find out a little bit more about the realities of the Melbourne Cup.
Hello, I'm from the Victorian Government. Are you ready for the Melbourne Cup?
Well, who knows if it's going to be a washout this year with the weather that they're having in Victoria. Might not even take place, maybe.
Hear that sound? It's coming. No, that's not racehorses. That's the sound of Tarakash wearing Moscato sculling heading to the Flemington Racecourse, where they'll get maggot.
I'm drunk, I'm maggot.
Okay, this isn't only at the Melbourne Cup. You know, this isn't just in Australia. This happens in England and everywhere, I think. Places like Ascot, Goodwood, Newbury, Aintree, etc., etc. It seems to be the place where chavs, you would call them bogans maybe, and just people that wouldn't normally dress up, shirts and ties, ladies wear their big hats, and they get pissed. That's basically what happens. I'm not even sure if there is much horse racing going on other than getting bladdered.
And cheer as these sentient creatures are forced to run at lung-breaking speed before leaving the joint looking like this. This isn't a bad dream. This is the Melbourne Fuck-Up, the day when Melbourne regresses by 2 millennia to the age of the Colosseum, as horses are whipped, have their tongues tied, bleed from their nostrils and in the lungs, snap their fucking legs.
Or, I'm not going to go back to that because it's horrible, but that's the same as our Grand National. Our Grand National, one of the biggest events of the year. Now, don't get me wrong, we normally still do a couple of quid bet every year. But the amount of horses that break their leg and then get put down because the jumps are so high, the run is so long, it is so arduous. But it is the sporting event of the year, and mixed feelings because I still watch horse racing. I still occasionally bet on horse racing. But I perfectly understand that these horses, something goes wrong and they lose their lives.
And get euthanized on the track, all for the amusement of semi-evolved primates. Bronze Age Entertainment. Here's Verima dying at the Cup. Here's Admiracti collapsing after his race. Araldo died that day too. Next year, Red Caddo. Then Regal Monarch. Then Cliffs of Moher. At least 122 horses died racing this year alone. And they're the lucky ones. These champions weren't fast enough, so they got sent to a knackery to be turned into pet food. The racing industry has a name for the thousands of horses discarded and retired each year. Wastage. 4,000 were slaughtered in 1 year at this abattoir alone. Many others are neglected for years in paddocks, waiting for a bullet to their...
Oh. That's the sad thing, isn't it? That's horrible. And it's there's evidence of it. That's the problem. And so that's why I'm saying I perfectly understand how these horses are dying and becoming lame, and if they don't make the cut, then they're useless pretty much.
Here at the Victorian Government, we give millions of your tax dollars to support this shit show. But sadly, each year more of you are saying nup to the Cup, which concerns us because this billion-dollar industry, I mean wonderful tradition, could be harmed if enough of you boycotted it like... lying on the cold hard ground. But come on, it's not so bad, because apart from the injuries and horse genocide and the damage...
Oh man, you're welcome to relook at that, but the video in the background of this was not pretty. This is making me feel a little bit queasy, if I'm honest. Oh man. And that's another issue that they're just about to talk about, the gambling. And I'll tell you a little bit about my problem I had. Why not? We're all friends.
Gambling does to our communities, and apart from the glorification of alcohol abuse and the fact that violence against women increases drastically on Cup Day, but
I talk personally. I don't know. Well, I do try and be personal. Now, always used to bet on football matches when I used to go to a ground, for example, just a small bet, and that was fine because you go to the stadium, you bet, you either win, you lose, and you leave. I had a serious problem with horse racing gambling. My first ever bet on a horse race, it was a lucky Lucky 32, Lucky 31, whatever it's called. And you have to bet on 4 horses and whatever. They win, lose, whatever. And I won about £600, about 1,300-ish Aussie dollars. Anyway, and then when you win, you think you can do it again and and when you do it online, especially, it's so easy. When you win, you put it back on, and I don't bet anymore. No, I say that. That's a lie. I may occasionally do a football accumulator, very rare, and that is the most I do. And so I've probably bet in the last year, probably about 20 quid. So it's dangerous. It is dangerous. But gambling is dangerous. And that is what horse racing is, isn't it? That is why there is horse racing now, I think, in my opinion. It's for people to bet on it. That's all it is. The winnings for the jockey, the winnings for the horse owners comes from the money people have spent gambling, right? So, yeah, it's in that sense, it's awful. It's awful because you're never going to win. The bookies always win, and it ruins lives. And I was lucky I stopped, but I know other people that haven't stopped, and financially it hurts them.
Communities, and apart from the glorification of alcohol abuse and the fact that violence against women increases drastically on Cup Day, but apart from all that, it's a wonderful day for the whole family to enjoy. So make sure to include the kids, because we need them to be desensitized to all that from a young age so that they can keep this munted tradition alive. The Munted Cup, the race that stops the nation from evolving past the Middle Ages. Authorised by the Department for Celebrating Gambling, Alcohol Abuse and Animal Cruelty all in one day.
I would say, hang on, let's finish. What's it? There you go. That'll be in the original video, which I will link in the description. I would say, on the other side of things, it is exciting watching horse racing. Horse racing it's brilliant to watch, especially if you've got a bet on. And that's what keeps people watching it, isn't it? And so there is definitely a huge, huge problem, and this has brought some of those things up. The issue now is, what is the use for horses? You know, why would people use horses these days? Because the use of horses is massively reduced from the times of when you needed horsepower, farming and things like that. It's a tough one. It's not a tough one, actually. It's not a tough one, really, because it is an awful thing for the horses, their welfare. But I do like watching the horse racing. Yeah, I feel sort of bad and guilty in myself there, actually. But it's Melbourne Cup Day. Will you be watching? Will you be gambling? Will you be going to the Melbourne Cup? Or are you completely against it and agree with this video? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Enjoy your public holiday, and I'll catch you next time.